Today we got a question from Victor, who has an issue that I think all of us are going to experience at some point, or maybe have already experienced. But basically, he is 56 years old. He's a blue belt. Started training when he was 48 years old. He's 5'4", in the 140s, so he's not a very big guy. He started training jiu-jitsu later in life, right? And he has no athletic background. He's been a bookworm his entire life, as he says. And in fact, he also had a handicap when he was younger that he had to sort of get over. And so again, a lot of things working against him. And he says that when he's training, he's often not he doesn't have the best balance for certain things. He loses sort of fumbles around with techniques that are kind of advanced, even though he's a blue belt. And when it comes to rolling, unless it's like one of the newer white belts, he really struggles doing much against him. And so his question is to me, because recently he was rolling with one of the younger upper belts and he's just getting smashed, and he said he was discouraged, and his coach saw him that he was discouraged. And his coach said, "Come on, man, just have fun." And he said it hit him like a ton of bricks, and he had to leave the mat because he didn't want to sort of lose his composure in front of everyone because he was kind of upset about it. But here's kind of his question to me. He says, "There's a sense that I love combat sports. I love being a fighter. I love the camaraderie. I love being, treated as an equal by all the jocks and all the tough guys. And the last thing I want to do is be a quitter. It'd probably just make me more miserable and up my self-contempt. I guess my question is, quote, what do you do when jiu-jitsu is no longer fun for you and you know you're not going to get better?" That's the interesting part. You know you're not going to get better. And this is something I always ask people. Would you do this if you knew you weren't going to get better? It's an interesting question because what else would drive you to do this thing other than progress, right? And it's an interesting question. So Victor, thank you for the question, brother. And I think the key, the core of your struggle right now is that you have this expectation because your message was kind of long. There was a lot more to it. You have this expectation of yourself and who you want to be, right? This blue belt who should be better and should be able to do these things, but you can't for some reason, and all these other things, right? You have this expectation that you're putting on yourself. And expectations, man, those can be pretty tricky sometimes. They can be very useful, but they can also destroy things, especially if they're not lined up accordingly. What you're dealing with is kind of the opposite of what I've dealt with in the last couple of years. So an interesting thing that's happened as I've gotten a bit older is that I'm not able to do some of the things physically that I used to be able to do when I was younger. First off, in the weight room, I'm not nearly as strong as I used to be. And in fact, when I lift weights, I probably won't get much stronger in my life. I'll maintain a certain amount, but it's all about slowing it down. And I'm okay with that because there's a lot of other benefits that I get from lifting that have nothing to do with me being super strong. But again, I'm probably not going to ever put up the numbers that I did when I was in my younger days. And then even in jiu-jitsu, there's a lot of things that I can't do because of, and I won't say can't do, it's things that I choose not to do because of my physical limitations now. Like training schedule, the volume of training I put in, the way that I roll. I mean, there used to be days, bro, where I would come in, train 2 to 3 times a day, no problem. Lift weights, whatever. I used to come in sometimes when roll with people, and if I was feeling a little squirrely, I'd say, all right, I'm going to submit everybody on the mats here, from white belt to black belt. There'd be a big group, but I might be rolling for 70 minutes without a rest, just to see if I can do it. I'm not doing that now. And anytime I've tried to go back to a heavy schedule like that and train like I used to, it doesn't lead anywhere good. But it was a problem because, again, I used to be that person, bro. I used to be him. And now I'm not. And if I set my expectation to be that person again, it creates a problem because I'm not 25, 26, 27, 30 anymore. About to be 38. So I'm not that person anymore. And for you, you're almost 60. You're 56. Think about how many 56-year-olds that are doing the stuff that you're doing right now. Probably not many, right? And you're doing the sport, that's pretty impressive by and large just by itself. And the fact that you have been rolling with guys since you were 48 and you haven't been completely chewed up and injured means that you're probably going to a good gym where they're taking care of you. But keep that in mind. Your expectations have to shift. You're not 30. You're not 24. You're 56 years old, bro. And I know that there's a lot of technical abilities to jiu-jitsu and everything else. You can be smaller. All that stuff's great. But at the end of the day, this is the thing that's doing the work, right? This biological machine that we call a body is doing the work. And as it gets older, as we all know, it just doesn't work as well as it used to, right? So you got to keep that in mind. And so I think that like I have the opposite issue. I don't really have, it's not an issue because I'm okay with that. I don't set an expectation for myself compared to my older days, but there was a period where I struggled with that. Now I've adjusted it a bit and I still get competitive. And I think this kind of, in my mind, is kind of this seasons of training. Like in the beginning, I think it's really good to get kids in to jiu-jitsu in a very playful manner, right? You keep things fun, keep it loose so they can come in and enjoy it and it gets wired into their brain that this is fun. So that as they get older, regardless of how training goes, it's fun because like their bodies have learned that it's fun. And then there's a point where if someone wants to do it, they can take on the more competitive aspects of that in their life, right? And I mean, again, all of us have typically in our younger days, we have a very fiery portion of our life where we fight and you could use it metaphorically, fight to prove ourselves in whatever realm that we're getting into. Some of us, like me, did it in jiu-jitsu and MMA. Some people might do it in a particular field or career, whatever, but you have that point where you're going out and you're trying to prove yourself. At a different time, we would have had to prove ourselves to our tribe. Well, we're proving ourselves to the people around us. And then there's a point where, you know, especially with jiu-jitsu, then you get to a point where it becomes play again. Because again, you're not going to be able to smash all these 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds. So what are you going to do now? Are you going to just quit because you can't get better? Or there's some options for you? Can you find other things to enjoy besides smashing everyone? Again, that's up to you. That's a question you have to ultimately answer yourself, bro. So again, find other reasons that have nothing to do with your progress, have nothing to do with smashing people that you like doing. It sounds like you already have some of them, like the camaraderie, the way you feel in the mats, maybe the experience overall. Find that stuff and focus on it and let that be the thing that you really fixate on and take the expectations for yourself and push yourself. Maybe you should do a little bit more drilling. That would probably be a better bang for your buck with your body, right? Like drilling without rolling all the time. Do a little more drilling if you can. Find someone else to do it with. But do that, but then also just kind of get rid of the expectations and allow yourself to just play and just like let it be what it is. Again, you're 56 years old. You're not going to be a world champion at the adult division. It's fine. Go a different direction. Anyway, hopefully that helps you, Victor. Good luck to you in your situation, brother. And I'll talk to you next time.